to football and the kitchen sink. Get ready for in-depth conversation from the world of high school, college, and pro football. Plus some insight about the rest of the world. All this, along with some fun and humor along the way. Pull up a chair, grab a coffee or a beer, and join us. It's football and the kitchen sink. Here are your hosts, Coach Schuman and Coach DePascali.
Yeah. And while we have the intro here, no.
While we have the intro, welcome in Troy.
No, Troy, I need this area.
You're getting less and less time, man. The days are getting shorter for that boy.
You can go right there. Don't come any closer. I don't want any sound. Oh, your mom is calling you already.
Oh, man.
Is that incredible?
Great driving.
All right, before we go, if you guys haven't listened to it yet, go to YouTube and see how to get recruited in COVID. I know a lot of the athletes are on there. It's on YouTube. Just type this title in, and you'll find it, you know. And while we also have you here, okay, and check out the receiverarch.com, made by our very own Coach DePascal, the inventing genius, and athletes.
It will help you.
It'll help you get better. It's inexpensive, and it'll help you get better.
Definitely inexpensive when I'm looking at some of what these other people are charging. And we got a couple things in the work to do further development. Let's say we're in the prototype stages.
Absolutely. And if you enjoy this podcast, I break down football players, top prospects over on the Prospect Podcast. Check that out. Let's get right into the goody goods of today.
Yummy.
The goody goods.
Yummy.
We got running back and linebacker, top players of all time. And before we do that, first of all, I don't know if you saw, I posted on Twitter today a little video that Aaron Rodgers did in an interview about have you heard about the Barstool Sports Small Business Fund?
Yeah. I've been following it since he kicked that thing off right after the new year.
So
he just finally got fed up with people not doing anything for small businesses, and he just started this fund, and I think they're up to over 30 million.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
He contributed 500,000.
Yep. So he talked about it, and he said, how you can't rely on the government. That's 100% true. You can rely on the government if you just want to get your just enough for you to get by for a brief minute, but it ain't gonna help you in the long run. So they're trying to help small businesses get back. So I if you go to my Twitter at Coach Schuman, you'll see a pretty good podcast interview with Aaron Rodgers. Got a lot of respect for him from seeing it. Oh, thank you for the kiss, Troy.
He does an interview with Portnoy, and he actually talks to him, and he's like, Aaron Rodgers kind of just says like, look, man, I got a lot of, my age bracket right now where a lot of my friends and stuff are in that small business world, and they can't make it, but they can make it, and it's just, it's unfortunate. And he goes, and I just, here I am playing a sport, making all this money. Like, I need to do my part, which I thought was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah. I think it's an awesome thing in general. If you watch some of those videos where he calls up the people and tells them that they're, going to be getting the money, talk about emotional, man. I mean, it's awesome to see some of those videos. If you need a kind of a little incentive, or, you need to feel good about what some people in this world do, go watch some of those videos, because it'll change you.
Now, I don't know if you follow the stock market,
Whoo! I tried to go buy some GameStop.
They won't let you, man.
GameStop, AMC. I tried to do it last night. They wouldn't let me.
They won't let you. And that's because the little man beat the big man yesterday and the day before.
I tried to do it last night.
They don't want it. They don't want us.
I tried to do it last night.
Turn the tide. They don't want us to turn the tide. The little man.
I'm telling you, it was, and they won't let you. You can't buy any GameStop or any AMC stock right now.
There are some other ones that they're trying, but you know,
right? I saw the list of them, but those were like the two. I looked at it.
You can only get behind. You know, little man can only get behind a few things at a time. It's like these hedge funds, you know. So
you saw they blocked it all, and they figure out the loophole.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was crazy because the stock shot up like 400%.
I'm checking. Let me see. What was
We're changing the trajectory of people who really have for NBA to do.
I know. It's crazy.
That's awesome. We got the gallery going. Get the gallery.
She's fired up. She's a stock market person, bro. It's where I learned everything I know about stock market, bro. But I'm telling you, like,
I said gallery.
If you look at the trajectory, like, it was funny to see, you know, the lines last night when you looked at AMC or GameStop. It was like, you know, flat, and then it was, and it was like 400%, you know, up 400%, and it was just like, but
now Bitcoin,
GameStop,
Bitcoin is back. Now Bitcoin is back on the rise because so these things are like
it's like a seesaw.
Take a look at United Airlines.
Yeah, I mean it's
why it's going up.
It went up 50% over the COVID because of this kind of day trading.
Yeah, it's because what is Portnoy calls it? What is he, Davey Day Trader? So he just goes in and messes around with however millions he has and just throws it around the stock market.
Oh my god!
But no, there was a lot of people. I mean, he let off a video today too that was whoa. I mean, he just let them have it. Like, you know, anybody who's involved in this should be in handcuffs. You want to talk about real illegal stuff going on? These are the people that, you know, he was rather upset. But you can't blame him.
Well, they're blowing the whole scheme of the market.
Not United Airlines. You mean American Airlines?
American Airlines. Sorry.
Yeah.
She's on.
I made a ton of from American Airlines yesterday, but it was more luck, to be honest. I just happened to own it.
I just think it's crazy, and I want to see I don't know if anything can be done, or I don't know the next step in this whole thing, but it should be interesting. But like you said, when the little man beats the big man, stuff happens quick.
Yeah, they get pissed. They're right on it.
They get pissed. They don't like it, you know.
Oh man, I mean, I don't even.
I was just checking.
It was funny because it was like you cannot buy this stock due to volatility.
Yep.
Because it's a volatile stock right now. Because it's really supposed to be low, and right now it's like going up.
That's where they're going. That's what they're trying to help. That's what they're trying to help the ones that are in trouble.
Make all the low stocks high by putting in demand to buy them all when they're really not supposed to be in that.
What it shows you is how everything is just manipulated.
Yeah.
You can skew things certain ways.
Absolutely.
It's brutal.
But
so that would be interesting, especially going into the weekend.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. So anyway, that's there, and then there was one other thing that and then did you hear some stuff with the Colts that Jim Irsay wrote a letter, like a kind of quote unquote love letter to Andrew Luck.
Please come back.
Like, please come back kind of thing.
Well, if you think about it, had he not left, they would have been, you know, because they'd have been sitting pretty, right? Like, it all kind of worked out exactly the way it should have, where he should have been hitting the stride in his career.
Well, he was.
But you know what I mean? Like, how he got hurt and everything like that. And still, I think he's still better. You bring him back into the league, I still think he's a top 10 quarterback.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He's 31 years old.
And we have Deshaun Watson, who officially has declared a trade.
Yeah. He wants out.
And looking at some of the trade packages, There's some funny stuff. I mean, ESPN, I think one of them did an entire like breakdown, every team of what they would trade for him going forward. So interesting.
Yeah. So let's get to the. All right. So we got most of the news. Any other? Oh, I saw Kevin Steele might get a $900,000 buyout. That's ridiculous. It's interesting because you know who Clay Travis is, right? He's
Yes.
Yeah, he's not like Fox, and he has his own network or whatever. He doesn't like the Tennessee hire at athletic director, nor the hire at coach. I thought that was interesting.
I saw there was a little bit of. I didn't read any of the articles, but I'm sure that
I guess there's some pushback down there.
Was some guy, but I saw there was some guys speaking out about UCF, about Heupel leaving and things of that nature. I don't know if it was negative or positive, but we'll go, from there.
No, I just thought it was interesting because we were pretty positive on it. So, although that might be just more who we are.
I think
it's easier to be harder on NFL just because it's so hard to succeed, period. Like the whole be enemy thing.
That's what I was just going to say. I mean, how about the Houston Texans going ahead and hiring somebody, which they hired the defensive line coach from the Ravens.
He wasn't the defensive coordinator.
He might have been the defensive coordinator.
Oh, okay. They hired him. Very interesting. That is so interesting.
But that's like you said, I think it's kind of whatever as far as like here going into the off season, this guy is the number one guy, and now all of a sudden he doesn't get hired.
That's weird to me.
So I don't know what exactly it is.
What's going on.
There's got to. I don't know.
Troy, you like our new office, by the way? Just
yeah, this one's nice too.
I think you're in the lobby of the lobby.
Nice, the lobby. Good job, Troy. Yes, that is a lobby.
He uses big words. I don't know where he learned them.
School.
School.
Yeah,
you learned them in school. Okay.
No, not at school. I'm not saying.
Who, from Ryan?
I don't know. Oh, just see.
All right. Right to the good stuff. Which one's first, linebacker or running back?
Linebackers.
Okay.
Because we'll never get to linebackers if we start with running backs.
Linebackers. Let me just get a list of reference.
And we're going all linebackers, like inside and out, correct?
Do we pick 5 in, 5 out? I mean,
I think we can do just 5. Why don't we do just 5 in general, and then we can, if we have to,
then we can do our
getting lengthy, then we can specify which way we're going.
We could do our clarifications. I think I already know who in my head 1 and 2 is.
Yeah.
I have 1 and 2 in my head.
Yeah, I have 1 and 2. Definitely.
All right. You want me to go first since I was a linebacker?
Yeah, I think you should get that.
I want you to.
This is tough. This is so tough.
Because there's just so many good ones.
And they're different.
Every one of them is different. And they only change as it gets, you know what I mean?
The only good thing is I think the super elite might
they kind of stand out.
All right. So for me, number 1 is Lawrence Taylor.
Okay.
He changed the game completely. And anyone who knows me knows I'm not a Giants fan. So for me to say that,
no, you're a Cowboys fan.
I'm a Cowboys fan. So for me to say that means that's how good I think he is. So growing up, that's all I heard about. Unfortunately, when he broke Joe Theismann's leg, he broke him like in half. Now his off the field stuff, actually didn't really impact him. If it impacted him on the field, we certainly didn't know it.
Right.
So which might even just mean he's even that much better. Because somehow, I mean, I don't know. Some of the stuff might have helped him. Some of them might have hurt him. So, but he was the most dynamic linebacker in the history of the NFL. He changed the game for all the guys that came after him. So he's number one. Number two, Ray Lewis. When he was in college, he was small.
Freak.
But it was so fast. As he got older and bigger, he adapted his game, as he became heavier and to less to be about speed and really knew the game so he could make plays and played for a very, very, very long time. And I think he made the rest of his defense better. I think Lawrence Taylor made him better because he was so good that the rest of those guys like Harry Carson was great to begin with. But Carl Banks really raised his level playing. I think just they were all so good. They but LT
they complemented each other.
Yeah, but he raised their level. And I mean, obviously Harry Carson was a leader of that defense as far as from a leadership standpoint. But there's no doubt Lawrence Taylor was the impact. And I think other guys became Pro Bowlers because more opportunities came their way to showcase how good they were, like Carl Banks and Harry Carson and Reasons and all those guys, because of the fact that you couldn't run, you couldn't throw over there. He was just a nightmare. And Lawrence Taylor made an impact not just on his position.
Everybody else. Yeah, he changed offensive line.
He made the left tackle the most important lineman.
Relevant.
He became the most right. So every left tackle in America, I almost knocked over my my nice office. Every left tackle in America can thank Lawrence Taylor for their paycheck. So, because he was the one who made that position so important, and because everybody. Anyway, so that's those two. All right, that's 1 and 2. Now it gets a lot tougher because I feel like I'm going to shaft 2 or 3 guys from getting in, just like last time.
I think that's either way. That's what's going to happen no matter what. There's this just like doing some of our other positions. There's so many guys that are so good. To name a top 5 is like you're doing someone an injustice no matter what.
Right.
Oh no.
The best middle linebacker next to Ray Lewis of all time is Mike Singletary, and he's number 3.
Oh, okay.
He was a Pro Bowler every single year that I remember.
I just remember those glasses.
Yeah, he was an absolute animal. He wasn't that big.
Wasn't a very good coach.
No, but he does do commercials now. He's not bad at that.
Wherever you got to get the money.
Yep. And so I think that there's no doubt that to me that he was the next guy. The next guy, number 4, is Derrick Thomas. Okay.
Hey.
Derrick Thomas died from a car accident while he was still a player.
Brutal.
So in his 9 years, he was 9 times Pro Bowler, 126 sacks. He is Lawrence Taylor light. Is that a good way of calling it? I would say. I
think he was he was the next. He took what Lawrence Taylor did, I think, and continued it. Or I think he was at least the first guy that was said to be like a Lawrence.
Right. Absolutely. And then number 5 was hard because there's a bunch of guys that I like that I thought could be on this list, but there's one I'm definitely shafting here and people may not agree with it. So number 5 on my list is Jack Lambert.
Oh wow, that's
Okay. He was an absolute animal. He was big. I don't know if he was fast, but
I think he was fast.
he just looked
He was
like
fast to the ball.
yes.
His game speed.
Yeah,
Does anything really matter? Like when it comes down, look, you know what's great is that you look at all these old time guys. You never hear any of these old time guys talk about a 40 or talk about any of that stuff, right? Like that stuff's not even included in them. So if they were fast, if people said they were fast, it's because when they saw them on the field, they were fast. Like I wonder how many of these guys ever had their 40s clocked.
Yep. And so that's my fifth guy. Now, number 6 and 7 for me
What is that about?
were probably Junior Seau and Dick Butkus. And then I'd have to go a little bit farther down the list to go to Derrick Brooks as like basically I have him higher than some of these other things do. The rest of these guys, I mean, Jack Ham was awesome, but I just think in the same defense, I thought Jack Lambert was really the guy. The Stork, Ted Hendricks, I thought about. He was all pro a bazillion times. He was 6'7", by the way, playing a linebacker.
Too big.
He was unreal. Ted Hendricks, unreal.
That's a big boy.
Yeah. But there were a lot of guys that I thought were really good that I would not have considered saying a top 5. You know what I'm saying? Either they didn't have long enough careers, and obviously it's a tough position. DeMarcus Ware is pretty good, but is he a top 5? No. Urlacher's not. It was excellent, but is he a top 5? No. So I really came down to me. Chuck Bednarik. I don't know, and I just know him from dun 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 dun. Like him running around and killing people in slow motion because that's how he did films. So I don't really know enough about him to consider him. But the only guys that did not make the top 5, really that I think could have been in the top 5, definitely Dick Butkus. I mean, I don't know much about other than dun 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 dun, but obviously most old timers would say yes. And Junior Seau to me, and Derrick Brooks, because Derrick Brooks was 11-time Pro Bowler. So
your list goes Lawrence Taylor, Ray Lewis, Mike Singletary, Derek Thomas, Jack Lambert.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we match up. I mean, we have a couple of the same. I'll start at the top. My number 1 was Dick Butkus, just because whenever you hear linebacker growing up, linebacker, even nowadays, it's Dick Butkus is just, solidifies that. Number 2, Lawrence Taylor. Unfortunately, I never got to see him play, but from everything I've read, and I mean, he just, like you said, just totally changed the position in every facet.
Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah. 3 for me, Ray Lewis. Just his overall continued, superiority at that position for every year that he played, and even going into the last year of his career, just the way he ultimately, when some of the physical stuff started to go, how smart he was mentally and how much work he put into the position to be successful, I thought was just phenomenal. Number 4 for me is Junior Seau. Another guy that growing up was just the guy, and one of those kind of, I want to say tweeners where as a linebacker could get into a pass lane, but could come off the edge and was strong enough and could, set the run if he needed to. Just kind of one of those guys that just did overall stuff good. And then 5 for me was Derek Thomas, because that guy just phenomenal. And then right on the outskirts for mine were so if you had to go with like a 6 or a 7 is Lambert and then Ham. So, yeah, man. I don't know. I think the linebacker position, you got look at guys recently,
basically we have the same guys just in different order. You like Ham more than I did.
Recently and you think about how the position has changed with concussions and things like that. You know, Luke Kuechly, Patrick Willis. I mean, these guys, I don't know.
I think of the modern era, it's tough because they don't last that long.
Nobody does it. Well, I think it's a mental thing. Like it's more self-awareness and self-perseverance.
Yeah. Oh, preservation, self-preservation.
Right. That's yes, preservation. As far as guys realize, like if I keep smashing my head into guys like this.
I mean, the guy who's lasted the longest is Terrell Suggs. It's amazing. I don't know how he's still around. Like I find him amazing as far as like his longevity is. I don't know how. 2003. I mean, playing almost as long as Brady. For goodness sakes, he's a linebacker. First of all, I don't even know how he runs at his age. So, you know, but like. There's a bunch of guys that are in the next tier, like Patrick Willis, Ricky Jackson, Sam Huff was supposed to be the best of his time, James Harrison. They're all kind of in that same, like,
we talked about Urlacher. You said Brooks,
Bednarik, who's from Kevin
Green.
They're all were.
How about even like a Zach Thomas? What about like Zach Thomas, London Fletcher?
Short time periods, yes. Like that's the issue is that the like
you said James Harrison.
Yeah, I said. I mean, yeah, he's on.
Like I think Von Miller. What about like Jesse Armstead? No,
I don't think Jesse Armstead's in quite there, but I do think. I think those guys, like literally those top 8 or 9 guys, are really, to me, kind of a cut above everybody else. And I'm trying hard to think of like who really played. Like I get Von Miller, Kuechly. I know Bonacotti was good for a sure. Pat Swilling was. They were all. Hardy Nickerson was very good. Andrew Tippett was very. I'm just looking at that one list they have there.
I also think that this is a position,
but they're not that top 5.
I know you're going to yell at me.
Sam Mills was
Sam
good.
Mills has to be somewhere on the list.
No. They're good. They're not top 5.
Oh, not top 5. He's got to be.
You're talking the best guys?
No, sorry, Sam, but I would not make that. No. Now, is he the top whatever player as far as, you know,
Cornelius Bennett?
But I don't think.
Didn't we do Cornelius Bennett yesterday? I had him with the DNs, I think.
Maybe Hardy Nickerson. Okay.
Wilbur Marshall was good for a short time.
He never gets anything because he just talks too much.
Well, he's only had only 5 Pro Bowls in 20 years, but 18 years. So, Greg Lloyd, these guys were like good for a few years.
Here's the thing, too, is I don't think we'll see because of the way.
I'll read your Pro Bowls, and I think you looked at the same list I did. This definitely tells me a lot as far as from a linebacker position. Lawrence Taylor, 10-time Pro Bowler. Okay, Buckus, which you had as 8-time Pro Bowler. Jack Lambert, 9-time Pro Bowler. Mike Singletary, 10-time Pro Bowler. Derek Thomas, 9-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
You also had Jack Ham, 8-time Pro Bowler. You had Junior Seau. Junior Seau was a 12-time Pro Bowler. Okay. Bednarik, 8-time Pro Bowler. After that, there's Derrick Brooks, who I had, 11-time Pro Bowler. No one else has that many. Ted Hendricks had 8. Urlacher had 8. I mean, I guess some of these guys, but DeMarcus Ware had 9. I just don't see the production. I mean, the production's good, but like the impact on the game.
Here's what I was gonna say.
Because Harry Carson has nine Pro Bowls.
I think this is a position with now how number 1 offenses are, and number 2 how defenses personnel things to match an offense is. I think this is a position that I don't want to use the word dying, but is evolving into something that's not like it used to be. So you can now get away. So basically how I always try and explain it is guys that used to play D end now play D tackle. Guys that used to play linebacker now play D end. Guys that played safety now play outside linebacker. You know what I mean? Like there's an evolution of more athleticism to this position where you got guys that are being asked to do a lot more than fill downhill and tackle a guy that runs the ball because that's not what offenses do anymore. So if you're not, rarely will you see a 3-down linebacker.
Lambert and Singletary Lambert's tall, so maybe not. But Singletary may have had an issue in today's game. Speed-wise.
Even do you think Dick Butkus could cover back out of the backfield?
No, but he was tall, though. I think he was tall.
But I'm just saying, athleticism.
I do think
if as a defensive coordinator, I asked some of these guys to do things that I ask my linebackers to do nowadays. I don't know if they could do it.
I mean, see, I think height helps you if you're not a bullet. If you're short and you're not a bullet, you're in trouble. So,
like a Singletary.
Singletary's 5'11". Dicka was 6'3". So let's say Dicka and 245.
What was Ray Lewis?
Dicka. I mean, look, Dicka today probably would have bulked up to 270. You know what I'm saying? And he would have definitely been a pro. But he may have been a JJ Watt. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and that's what I was talking about, the evolution of these guys now putting their hands down.
How tall? Jack Lambert, I thought, was very tall, but I could be wrong. Yes, Jack Lambert was 6'4". Definitely could have played linebacker today at that height. And definitely, if he was more of an he could have played actually a true outside. You know what I'm saying? Even if he was a little slower, which I don't think he was. He probably wasn't that. The guy who you liked, I thought might have had a trouble. That's why I didn't have him. But Jack Lambert's tall, 6'4". Ham was 6'1". Jack Lambert was 6'4", 220. So he probably could have.
Well, I think Patrick Willis and Luke Kuechly weren't very big, were they?
Yeah, but they were fast, though. They were fast. That I'm saying, if you're shorter, you got to be fast. Yeah. If you're tall, you obviously still have to be fast. But if you're tall, the length of your arms at linebacker is a huge asset. You know what I'm saying? Which Butkus still would have had, and Jack Lambert still would have had. But I mean, I don't know. Dicka used to Butkus used to kill people, and he was a great little actor too back in the day. What was he on?
He did some stuff.
Yeah, he did some things. I'm trying to think what show he was on.
Let's see. Junior Seau was 6'3", 250.
He was 6'3", yeah.
And he could move.
He could run.
He could move.
Lawrence Taylor.
I think that's a good. Yeah, I think that's a good list. I think, like you said, the position itself moving forward. I'm curious to see what happens to it. To be honest.
Ted Hendricks definitely would have played D-end in today's game at 6'7". 6'7", 230. He definitely would have been a D-end today.
Oh, God, yeah.
The Stork?
Yes.
I mean, can you imagine 100%. Trying to throw over that?
No.
He was a great line. He was an excellent linebacker back in the day. Today, he would have been a D-end just coming off the edge at 6'7".
Right, I can only imagine. Yeah, coming off the edge at 6'7", just put your hands up and go.
His nickname
Derek Thomas, 6'3", 255. So, yeah, he was in that Junior Seau mode.
I think you need to Urlacher.
He was an Alabama guy.
Yeah. He played with Cornelius Bennett the same time. How about that?
And they played with your boy as running back for the Chiefs, right? Who was that guy? The big monster guy. What was his name? Abby Boo Boo. What was his name? The running back.
For the Chiefs?
Yeah, for like a fullback-ish type running back.
Who played?
Preaching is
Okoye?
Yeah, that guy.
Nigerian Nightmare.
Yeah,
that was his nickname. That was his nickname.
All right, so we're doing this. Are we taking the plunge into running backs?
Okay, linebacker was a little bit quicker than I thought, but yeah.
No, I think it's kind of just those guys are there or it is. You know what I'm saying?
Who's the best linebackers now?
You want to go current? Let's see. Top linebackers. Let me look it up.
Reel off some names and I'll tell you if
Let's see what you got. Bobby Wagner, Seattle. He's phenomenal. Let's see. So I'm looking at the rankings here. It says right now. So Bobby Wagner's number 1. Let's see. Levante David from the Bucks. Darius Leonard, Colts. Demario Davis, Saints.
he's good.
Deion Jones, Falcons. Eric Kendricks, Vikings. Jalen Smith.
I like him a lot. The Cowboys.
Corey Littleton from Vegas.
No, I watch a lot of Cowboy games, so
Alexander Johnson from the Broncos.
Cowboys actually have the Cowboys have 2 good linebackers.
Yeah, they do. Yes.
And then they drafted
Van Der Esch is Cowboys. Cunningham from the Texans. Let's see.
Nothing that just jumps out of you, right?
Miles Jack from the Jaguars.
Miles Jack, right? Who was a safety.
Yeah, but I mean, these are just Devin Bush from the Steelers. He was a beast in college.
I think the best guy right now in the NFL, he's only playing 1 year. The best linebacker, but playing the best right now is the guy in the Bucks, Devin White.
Yeah.
He is the best linebacker right now in the NFL.
I mean, look, I watch Bobby Wagner. I like him a lot from Seattle because he's just, he's
played more. But impact that Devin White's had in his first year.
Oh, absolutely. And the other guy, Levante David, is just as big of a beast. You know what I mean? But like I said, linebacker is in a position where,
because you use a nickel a lot of times.
Yeah, like I said, there's usually not those guys. Those guys usually aren't even on the field.
And what happens is when someone goes like even in college football now, who was it that was going with the 4-3 too long?
You just everything is just
who lost the championship? Ohio State. They were going too long with linebackers.
Yeah, you need
Alabama was torching them with the tight end
because you have athletic
tight ends. Nice. Yeah, yep. Like that. Like when you get to the highest game, like what worked at college early on in the Big Ten.
Ain't happening.
Literally, when you play Alabama, you got to hope you have a guy that can play tough enough as a strong safety that can play tough enough on the run where you need it.
Right.
You don't have,
but someone you can cover if you need to.
Yeah, that nickel spot, and that's why I think the 30 front you could have if you have a 30 front, you could potentially have 2 nickel spots.
Yes,
and now you can really run. Whereas
or if you have 1 nickel, you put 2 nickels in the game, and one is more of a run stopper, put him to the strength, and put a weaker one more of a cover guy to the backside. You know what I mean? Like there's how many things could you do? You know what I mean? Like there's so many things you could do.
Alabama basically a pro light team there.
Correct. And remember, you got guys that are literally doing specific things they're so good at. Just you know what I mean? Like just certain things. That's what they're good at. They come in on 3rd down only. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous.
Running backs. Let's give the people what they want. Who's your top 5 running backs? You go first.
I'm going first? Really? Okay. Number 1, Walter Payton. My guy. Oh, wait.
I love them, but...
Number 2, Barry Sanders. I know you're going to disagree with mine because I just know who you are. Number 3, Jim Brown. 4, your boy Emmett. And then 5 is Gale Sayers.
Gale Sayers, who only played 5 years.
Because I know we're talking about running backs, but just the fact he
can do everything.
He did a bunch of stuff.
Well, he could do everything.
Walter Payton 1, Barry Sanders 2, Jim Brown 3, Emmett 4, Gale Sayers 5.
Okay, I'm going. Number 1, Jim Brown. You knew it was coming.
The only reason I have Jim Brown low is, and it's kind of, it's the same. I don't know. I think he would have played longer.
Well, he did the Barry Sanders route, played 9 years. But first of all, he left because he made more money as an actor.
Yeah,
He was in like westerns and like
just Mars Attacks.
he was in a lot of movies. I loved him as an actor.
He
was the assistant coach in the movie where Al Pacino's the coach.
Yeah, he was a defense.
Willie Beeman.
Any Given Sunday.
Yep.
So Jim Brown's one.
Jim Brown, the one. So my rationale on Jim Brown is that he could play in any era. At his size. And today he might have actually been even more valuable.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he caught a lot of balls and he was fast and a hard runner. He would have been like a Derrick Henry kind of guy. So he would have been just as effective now as he was back then. Maybe more effective because you have these DBs playing linebacker, as we just talked about.
He would have just speed bumped everybody.
He may not have carried. Well, he didn't carry the ball that much even back then, but he would have maybe not carried the ball as much, but he would have averaged, ton per carry.
Right, and you hope he went to another team.
Yep. And as much as he played back then, he never got hurt. I mean, he was the best lacrosse player in America.
That's another thing.
He was a world-class decathlete in track.
And he played during a tough time for him personally.
Yes, Syracuse, and he handled all those things, like the race issues when he was at Syracuse. He handled it all.
Yeah,
like
a ton of race issues when he was at Syracuse.
Yep, and he advised. Remember, you saw that movie.
Yeah.
Like,
what is it? The Express.
And you know what I like about him too? Like he just, whether you agree with him or not, he calls it how he sees it.
That's it.
I like him. I like Jim Brown. I just can't help not like. Please, Troy, can you please? You're gonna have to go if we keep making too many noises, kid.
Okay.
All right. Enjoy it without I don't need. You can do commentary later on it. It's commentating on himself playing.
Did Jim Brown win the Heisman?
Jim Brown win the Heisman? That's a great question. I'm assuming he did, but I don't. Maybe not.
Wait a minute.
Ernie Davis won it, right?
Jim Brown. I think he got shafted. Yes, Jim Brown got shafted for the Heisman. I remember this. So did he have a 30 for 30 or something? I don't remember. Jim Brown should have gotten the Heisman. He didn't.
What year was this?
And it just had to be 50s.
I got him.
He went out in the Cotton Bowl. I think it was the Cotton Bowl. And
56
and ran for, if you look it up, maybe while you're up to do it, he ran for he had some incredible bowl game where everyone was like, he felt he was snubbed,
Yeah. So 1956, Paul Hornig won it.
Yes. Paul Hornig.
Notre Dame.
Now I remember. Our father used to talk about this all the time.
He won the Heisman, but Notre Dame was 2-8.
2-8. And Jim Brown, what did Jim Brown do in the bowl game?
And this guy only threw 3 touchdowns to go against 13 interceptions. And he won the Heisman.
Yeah.
They call it.
Look at Jim Brown. Look what Jim Brown did.
Yeah, biggest snub ever.
Yep. Look what Jim Brown did.
Oh my God.
You didn't add any water to this, did you?
No, why?
I think the Heisman people didn't like that Jim Brown was outspoken person.
In that season, he had 100 and
he got snubbed.
He was the 5th vote. He was the 5th overall vote, and he had 158 attempts for 986 yards, 13 touchdowns, 6.2 yards a carry.
And what did he do in the last game? He had supposedly he heard about when he got snubbed. They supposedly he ran his coach gave him the ball. And
who was that? What was that guy's name again? Was it the same guy?
I think it was the same guy that was Ernie Davis's coach.
Right, that's what I was asking.
Because they had a respect relationship, like I think remember the movie? Like he basically told her, and it was like the coach wasn't like a
right. He wasn't exactly a pro, whatever, but
warm and fuzzy. But he was like right, but he. I don't remember what Jim Brown Cotton Bowl.
Oh, it was the Cotton Bowl.
But the Cotton Bowl, Jim Brown ran. They beat. Was it? Let me see. What was Jim Brown's stats?
Let's see. The 1957 Cotton Bowl Classic. He ran for 2 touchdowns in a span of 6 minutes to tie the game. Yeah, it looks like he just literally just went off.
Yeah, they lost, I think, or
6
something.
touchdowns.
He scored 1, 2, 3 touchdowns in the game.
Oh, because the Cotton Bowl hadn't been played before the Heisman was awarded.
Right.
So didn't play in a nationally televised game until the Cotton Bowl, but by that time the trophy had already been awarded to Hornig, with all attention on being placed on Notre Dame.
I got my fact checker.
Yeah, there you go.
Hired.
he was unbelievable. If it had been after the Cotton Bowl, he would have won it.
Schwartzwalder, Ben Schwartzwalder. That was his coach, and they lost.
Yeah, they lost. They did lose. Well, the other thing was that, first of all, Horning, just the only reason he probably got it because he was on Notre Dame, but
3 touchdowns to 13 interceptions.
That's absurd. But I don't know what they did back then. But he didn't win either, so I don't know. He did go on to a great career with Green Bay, where he was a halfback for them. But because he wasn't good enough to beat out Bart Starr, but he was a very good athlete. That's all I know about it. And he was also part of the Dun 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 films.
Of course, all timers. Yeah.
But Jim Brown's. When you watch Jim Brown's Dun 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 films, anyway. So that's number 1. Number 2, I'm changing my number 2 from what I had before. I think originally I had Barry Sanders, but I'm gonna flip it to Emmett Smith. So Emmett Smith.
My 2, 3, 4 could go like they're a Rolodex.
Yeah, Emmett Smith was Florida's all-time leading rusher until Derrick Henry. I think he had 11,000 yards.
State of Florida.
State of Florida, and he was, I think, the number 2 overall.
Even though he did go to the University of Florida.
Yes, but he was from Escambia High School.
The Gators.
And his head coach, by the way, his name was Dwight Thomas, and I know him really well. And his head coach is still around, and he works in the recruiting industry now. He's a good guy, tall guy. He was Emmett Smith's head coach.
Smart guy, I'm assuming.
He's smart, but also very the word, I'm trying to think of the best word. Like, he's just a nice guy. You know what I mean? Like, just seems like a really good guy. I bet you anything Emmett Smith ever said about him was good. I guarantee it. So number 2, Emmett Smith. Number 3, Barry Sanders. We've talked about it before. Nobody could, shake in a phone booth. What he did in his Heisman year with 2,600 yards was insane.
I just think about if he actually played
on a good team.
Well, 1, would his career have gone longer? I think yes. And 2, really, what could we have seen?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's scary to think about. And then my 3rd question, which nobody ever seems to ask, is if he was on another team, which team would it have been? Well,
they used to say that if he was on the Cowboys, that because he played the same time as Emmett Smith, he would have rushed for an insane amount of yards. But then the critics would say, well, his style of running, where the Cowboys basically Emmett Smith's style of being able to read a hole and just get through it.
Barry would have been too fast for that offensive line.
Emmett Smith's best thing was being able to find the right hole, make the right block, and his patience. His patience too. His patience.
Yeah, I don't know if Barry was that patient.
I don't think Barry was that patient. I think that's his flaw.
Put Barry on the Bills.
Right, somewhere where he could go wherever he wants, and I don't know.
Put him on a spread off. Put him with the Bills like Thurman Thomas, catching the ball.
So that's my top three. I think most people would have those guys in their top probably three.
Four.
Four is tough. And I think I went with – you could quote me that maybe I went with a different guy each time. I may have. But four.
Yeah, you always liked him.
Somebody's here.
To
My mom's a
me,
big Marcus Allen guy.
Marcus Allen was good. Let me see what my man. All right, give me one more second here.
See,
All right.
you overthink it.
I do overthink this a little bit.
So far, you got I'm
going to go four. I'm going to go four. Walter Payton, 5. Eric Dickerson.
I also like Marshall.
That's where I would go. Four. Yeah.
Now, so then who is your 6? Campbell?
6, I would go. Well, Campbell didn't play that long. I would probably go. Tony Dorsett.
Yeah.
Earl Campbell. I'm a Cowboys fan. O.J. Simpson, and then
you have to put O.J. in there. I know he gets a bad rap because of
Danian Tomlinson, Gale Sayers. They're all were, top 10 guys.
Have a lot more. Who? Adrian Peterson too. Because I
think right outside the top 10 is Marshall Faulk.
Yep.
Peterson, right outside it. Thurman.
Marshall Foggy.
Falk isn't Falk. Marcus. You know what's interesting about Marcus Allen?
What about now? Here I got 2 names for you. Where does they're the same ones you're gonna?
Marcus Allen was actually a great blocker.
Jackson and Herschel Walker fit in.
My 2 were
2 of the best college running backs of all time. So Herschel Walker first got shafted because
Mom says Franco Harris.
Franco Harris was good. He's probably top 20.
He just liked it because he's Italian.
Herschel Walker's top 20. Herschel Walker was the best. He played 3 years in the USFL.
What about Riggins?
Did you hear what I said?
What, the USFL?
Herschel Walker played 3 years in USFL. Look what he ran for in the 3 years. He lost 3. What most guys' 3 best years would have been.
Well, didn't Steve Young play there too?
Yeah, but a quarterback doesn't get hit. Herschel Walker took hits, man.
Yeah, but bro, look at him.
But he blew out his shoulder, I think, in the USFL, and that's kind of.
I watched him run over that guy against Georgia. No wonder he blew out his shoulder.
I mean, Herschel Walker in his rookie year in the USFL rushed for 1,812 yards. Then the next year, 1,339. Then his third year, which is still to this day the record for any league, 2,411 yards in one.
What was his first year? 18 what?
1812. Then 1339. Then
2411.
2411.
Okay, so hang on. That's 12.
That ends up putting him in 13,787, which would have put him in the top 10.
So he rushed for 5,500 yards in that league alone.
Yes.
Now, how many carries?
A ton. That's what wore him out. He had 412, 293, 438.
In those first 3 years?
First 3 years.
Wait, what was it? For what?
412, 293, 438.
Ew, that's stupid.
That's crazy, right?
That's not even. That's like. No, that's not even. That's just like that's abuse.
That's abuse. And listen to his touchdowns the first 3 years. 17, 16, 21. He had 54 touchdowns in 3 years.
When he played for the Generals.
But, by the time he played a long time in the NFL. He played another 13 years. But I don't think he was ever quite.
He had 1,143 carries before he even got to the league.
He only had 1,954 carries the rest of his 13 years. Think about that.
He still looks the same.
Yeah, well, yeah, physically he's. I heard the background there. Yeah, he was a kick returner too. So just to give you an idea, he had all these combined. He might be in the top 5 of all time all-purpose. I think he is. He had 6,340.
Definitely in the all-time hits taken.
He's 6,343 yards all-purpose. Receiving in his career. Okay.
Are you getting any feedback? I thought we'd be having a lot more feedback.
Yeah, well, it could be just people are tired of us today. And then 5,153 yards in kick returns.
Damn.
So all told, he's 11-4, 11-5. He's 26,000 yards in his carear.
Who's the second? Who's the second? He's the most all-purpose.
He might be the most.
I didn't. I want to look it up.
Yeah, he might be. He's one of the top. Let's see, most all-purpose yards of all time. NFL all-purpose yards. Number 1 is
Jerry Rice.
Oh, right, because they don't count Herschel Walker's years in the USFL. Doesn't count. So he would be number 1.
So I got the top 4 here.
If USFL counts, he would be number 1.
Oh, hands down.
So he really might be one of the best all-purpose backs of all time.
Can you believe who leads it?
Jerry Rice is just receiving yards. That's how many receiving yards. Emmett Smith is receiving and catching.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It says total all-purpose yards gained. Jerry Rice is number 1.
Sproles is everything. Tim Brown is receiving and returning.
Brian Mitchell is everything.
Brian Mitchell, I think, is mostly returning.
Running back, punt returner, kick returner.
But he didn't. I don't think he carried the ball for that many yards. Oh, maybe. Oh, he's a very good receiver. Okay, I'm wrong. Had a good. Not that much.
Well, Frank Gore is there just because he's literally been there forever. Sproles, Brown, Steve Smith because he used to return punts.
Yeah, Herschel. If you were going to say all-purpose,
he's number 12.
He might be in the top 5 all-purpose backs. But Marcus Allen was a very good receiver out of the backfield.
Majority of these guys.
Marion Motley.
Look at here. The top 10 all-purpose guys. You got receiver, running back, returner, running back, return. Most of these guys are mainly running backs.
Yeah, because they catch the ball in the backfield.
Right.
John Riggin, Jerome.
How about Larry Fitzgerald? That's mainly receiving. Curtis Martin. Okay. One of my all-time favorites growing up, Eric Metcalf.
Great return guy.
God, he played on a lot of teams.
Great return guy.
And here's another one of my favorite guys too, man. Derek Mason from the Oilers Titans.
He was a very good return guy.
And then he became a very good receiver later on in his career.
See, Marcus Allen has a ton of all-purpose yards.
Wes Welker does too.
Marcus Allen used to catch a lot of balls. He caught a lot of passes. Marcus Allen, he won the Heisman Trophy. And the year before, when he was a junior, he was the fullback and the tailback was Charles White, who you don't even know. But
Hey, Jim Brown's on this list.
of all purpose, yeah, because he caught a lot of passes. Jim Brown used to catch passes.
30th.
He used to catch a lot of passes. Josh
Who's
Cribbs
not on this list who probably could have had the opportunity to if he ever figured it out as another position, but he's not even on this top 30, and it kind of shocks me. There's 38 names lifted here, and Devin Hester is not one of them.
He's 46.
That's brutal.
Troy, my neck is killing me from when I fell yesterday. Remember when I fell flat on my
Irving
back?
Fryer, okay.
Irving Fryer was a good kick returner.
Is this me?
But Devin Hester never went to receiver. I never understood that.
And I'll never understand why the last game of his career at Miami, he played running back.
I don't even know anything about that.
Well, obviously, I followed the U.
Did I do all my 5 yet? Who would you say is the best running back that doesn't get enough?
Okay.
Right now,
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook, Minnesota.
You think he's the best running back in the NFL?
I think
Over Derrick Henry?
No, I thought you were saying which running back, who's the
Well, I was
best
gonna say all
running
time.
back in the league. No, I thought you said who's the best running back right now that doesn't get enough appreciation.
Oh, well, I was going to say that for the all time, but NFL, that could be. Yeah, I mean, he's very good, Dalvin Cook.
And you never hear anything about that dude.
What about
All time,
Bo Jackson?
Curtis Martin.
Or maybe Bo Jackson because his career went short.
Of course.
How about Adrian James?
Yeah.
Adrian James.
He really don't, even though he's a Hall of Famer, he don't get much hype.
You know what my favorite video used to be? If this is now, I was young.
I don't think Marshall Faulk gets the hype he should.
Adrian James used to do. You know when he used to do his workouts, training in the off season. You know when? Do you know a time, a day?
Midday.
Nope.
When it was the hottest?
Nope.
Midnight.
Yep. Actually, later, like 2 a.m., 1 a.m.
Yeah, when he was out after he was done partying.
I think he used to. I think that's what he used to do. He would work out.
That's a Miami boy. What do you expect?
Is that wild?
All those dudes do freak stuff like that. I'm serious. Like some of these guys, like especially because I have, my boys down there and it kind of has developed into the whole Florida mentality type of thing. Is these dudes a lot of times because it's either one, they're just mentally insane enough to work out in the middle of the day when it's the hottest, or they don't,
You're right.
and they work out at night when it's a little cooler.
Yeah, that's true.
They're
They
one or
probably
the other.
started doing that, right?
But like I said, like my guy he'll be out there like middle of the sun, like 12 o'clock midday, like burning it up. And I'm like, he goes, this is when they want to train, because if they can train during this heat, then they can train, they can play and do it whenever.
We would not be allowed to do that.
But even like his big time guys that are from Florida, they're different cats, man. Trying to think who else, because there's a couple guys that don't get the recognition that they really should.
How about O.J. Anderson?
How about Jamal Anderson?
Jamal Anderson. I don't know what his
Warwick Dunn.
Warwick Dunn, all purpose back. Tiki. How about your boy Tiki Barber?
Fumble something else. His brother is better than him.
He really did have a good career, though.
I just love that the Giants won the Super Bowl the year after he retired. I think that's great.
9 years. Did they win when he was there?
No, the year after he left.
He wasn't that good his first few years, and then he exploded.
I liked Curtis Martin.
Dude, listen to his last years. Listen to Tiki Barber really basically left in prime. Tiki Barber's last years, and by the way, guess who has the unique I'm not 100% sure. No, Tiki Barber did when I was in high school in the national championships in track. I was there for the pentathlon indoors, and Tiki Barber, I think, was like won the nationals in like the high hurdles or something. Him or his brother.
Virginia, right?
Yeah. So Tiki rushed for 1,000 in 2000, then 865, then 1387, then 1216, then 1518, 1860, and 1662.
And then walked away.
That's incredible, actually.
I need it back.
He really did have a lot. He really did have some. Caught a lot of balls, too, man. 586 catches in his career.
Well, he went to a Super Bowl and lost with Kerry Collins, right?
Listen to how many catches he had in his career. 34, 42, 66, 70, 72, 69, 69, 52, 54, 58.
Yeah, he used to do a lot.
He left at the top of his kind of game. Interesting.
Couldn't handle the mental game in New York. People telling him all he did was fumble. He couldn't handle it.
He could have played well, I guess he got out healthy. And he made his money, I guess.
Yeah, doesn't he still make money?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Who's the best 5 running backs right now? Derrick Henry. You said Dalvin Cook. Who else?
Kamara, right? You'd have to say him. Let's see. I want to look at it.
Giants running back?
Saquon. I'm sure everybody put him on that list, right?
How about
McCaffrey. Definitely McCaffrey.
Yeah. Who else gets the ball enough?
Oh, I mean, look. All right, so let's look at this list here. This list has it.
Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook.
I think Derrick Henry, hands down number 1, right? So this list here doesn't see it that way. This list here sees it Christian McCaffrey, Saquon.
That's from last year.
What
about Zeke? Zeke Elliott.
Right, this is right. This list is heading into the 2020 season.
Zeke Elliott, maybe.
So let's just throw out these names: Cook, Henry, Kamara. We said Chubb.
Chubb's is definitely one of the better guys.
Josh Jacobs from the Raiders. Carson from Seattle.
Josh Jacobs could play at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
David Montgomery. Bears. Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, he's good.
He played at Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, just the next one in the next line.
Well, he's only a rookie, I guess. So
right. So I guess he doesn't really have much of a list.
And there's you know what I like who runs the ball, but he doesn't get a lot of carry. I guess he ran for like 900 yards. The guy from Tampa is good. Not Fournette's good, but Ronald
who is it? Williams?
Jones.
Right.
When he runs, I think it was he's in the backfield with When he runs the ball, man, that dude is tough to handle.
Well,
I guess he doesn't get that many carries.
Look at both of these teams going into the finals. They're in this. Neither of them have they have a starting running back, but there is a guy that plays their number 2 that's just as good.
Well, Jones ran for 972. What did Fournette run for this year? I think Fournette's really the backup.
Really?
I think so. He was. He's not in the top running yards. Maybe he was hurt. I don't know.
I think he's a bigger dude.
I mean, the Chiefs went away from playing.
I mean, they still have LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah, they don't play him.
No.
It's interesting because there's not that many 1,000-yard rushers anymore. 1, 2.
Never.
There's 9 of them. Derrick Henry's stats in his short career so far are pretty mind-blowing. 2016, they didn't really run him that much. 490, then 744.
Well, they also had Mariota, right, who was more of a running quarterback too.
They might have had another back, and then he might have been splitting time. Then 1,059, 1,540, 2027. He exploded the last 3 years. He's got 58, 60 in his 5 years. Did I tell you my Derrick Henry story? I think I did. At the Maxwell Awards in Atlantic City.
Yep.
Where he was like, hey, he said, can you hold my cell phone for a second? No. Yeah. Can you hold my cell phone while it charges?
You're like, sure.
I'm like, okay. He was in the nightclub. He was 18 years old. He didn't drink or anything. So in all fairness, he was just kind of hanging out. No one questioned whether he was 21.
Well,
you know why? Because he looked like he was 30 when he was 18.
Well, you remember Kareem Walker from DePaul? He looked like he was 60.
I couldn't believe how adult he looked. And he was dressed nice too. And I just couldn't believe how adult.
No.
Like he looked like an adult. Like this kid's 17, 18 at the time. Pretty amazing.
Alabama.
How about Melvin Gordon? Let's see what Melvin Gordon must have pretty good stats. These Wisconsin guys, man.
They just tuned it out.
Melvin Gordon. I guess Melvin Gordon's only had 1,000-yard year.
He's always hurt.
He had 641, 997, 1105, 885, 612, 986. 6 years, 5,000 yards. Does he catch balls? He catches a lot of balls. He catches a lot of balls.
Gonna find out.
He's a good receiver. 256 catches, 2,000 yards. It's pretty good.
He's on the Chargers still or no?
Broncos. Zeke Elliott catch balls?
I am not a fan.
What don't you like?
His off the field nonsense. No, I just don't think he goes all out all the time, dude.
Well, that was kind of the knock, I guess.
I really just don't see him ever, you know what I mean? Like if
5 years, 6,384 yards.
What has he got?
5 years, he's got 6,384 yards in 5 years. I mean, but you know, like there's a cliff for running backs. Like
yeah, and he's about reaching it.
That's the tough part. That's why those guys who made it, like Adrian Peterson's amazing.
That's you'll never see that again, I don't think.
I mean, what's the name is lasting longer than even Adrian Peterson.
Frank Gore.
Yeah,
but he's like the bionic man. You think about it. He's had 3 ACL surgeries. So is it really even him? Like maybe like some of these guys you hear come back after Tommy John surgery that are throwing harder. Maybe it's the same thing. He tore his ACLs and was like, nah, this one ain't working. Let me get another one. Nah, let me get another one.
Let me get another. Yeah, Adrian Peterson is.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see that again. I laugh because he was the number 1 recruit in my 2004 recruiting class.
Now he came out in the NFL at 19, so he might not even really be technically, even though he's played for a long time, that old.
Well, remember when he burst on the scene at Oklahoma and he was just it was just like, whoa.
Well, he was the fastest guy. I think he was the fastest.
Big.
He was like the state 100 champ, even though he was huge.
Well, like I said, he was the number 1 recruit in my class.
Your class, think about that. You could still be playing. 35 years old he is.
Well, that's why people laugh at, like, you know, guys that are like, look, I get up to go to the fridge and pull a back muscle, and Tom Brady just threw for 5 touchdowns.
He is 600. Yeah, that's crazy. 600. It's crazy what he's done.
Well, can you remember the #1 football recruit your year?
Well, it wasn't the same kind of thing, but 92.
I'm sure you can remember some.
Let me think.
Like, I think the Heisman winner,
I wouldn't
too,
even know.
my year was, I think it was Palmer.
I don't know. I wouldn't even know. 96. All I know is I remember when I was trying to get ready to get looked at for the NFL.
Matt
And
Lambert.
It was the first time they had videos online of prospects. And I used to go to the library and watch the other guys. And it was like, okay, I could do that as well as him. Like, I went to all these different combine things, and then they had they timed me for the jet
Combine, Troy.
combine. But anyway, it was interesting. Adrian Peterson, man, his first years were really good.
Till he broke his collarbone.
1341, 1760, 1383, 1298, 970, 2097, 1266. Then he broke his collarbone, and then he was 1485, and then forget it. Those 3 years in the middle, he really had 3
No,
years.
1 year he tore his ACL. He broke his
He
collarbone.
was out like 3 years, basically. 3 whole years, he was basically out.
Right, and then that's what the whole thing was, to bounce back. And then he had some issues off the field.
I did 448, 898, 609. His wife is Ashley Brown. Let's take a look at Ashley.
Well, didn't he get in trouble for, like, whipping his kid with a tree branch or something?
Oh, yeah.
Which is apparently what they do in Texas.
Well, we have to understand, you know, he grew up, his father was in jail when he was a kid. I think for murder. So I think he did have a relationship with him, even though he comes from a tough
Upbringing.
He's from, I want you to look this up. I think he's from Palestine, Texas. I could be wrong.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Is that right? Is that like, I remember thinking it was like an odd name.
No, that sounds familiar.
Does that sound like what it was?
Yes.
Let me see. I wonder if that's right. Adrian Peterson was from Palestine High School. Okay. Palestine, Texas. Yep. Wow. I can't believe I remembered that. I just remember it was such a weird name for a town.
Right.
Not a weird name, but like
just like something that you
remember
think of, yeah.
The country. It's like when you hear
Saddlebrook, New Jersey.
no, that's not weird. Oh, I know. Texas has some of these weird names. They have like Atlanta, Texas, and stuff like that. I think they have names like that, like other cities as their names in their towns. I mean, it's so big. You gotta probably start running out of names. You know what I mean? California, the towns are a lot like everything's bigger. So even though there's way more people, they probably don't have as many, maybe not as many little tiny towns. But I bet you Texas has like 1 million, like little towns that you'd be like, what's the name of the town? Where are you from? Tennessee, Texas. Oh, okay. Greatest football movies of all time. We've done this.
We've done this.
Oh, all right. Greatest football TV shows of all time.
We did that one too.
We did.
Yeah.
Greatest football songs of all time.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Turnover Chain.
What do you mean turnover? Oh, yeah, you love that song.
Turnover Chain. Turnover Chain. Turnover Chain.
Who is?
What do you want to say? To the people?
I thought I had something else.
Who should the Jets pick up at quarterback, Troy? Should they go to the draft or should they try to acquire a guy in a trade? What do you think?
Acquire a guy in trade.
Acquire a guy in a trade. If you could acquire one of these two guys, Deshaun Watson or Matthew Stafford, who would you take if you were the Jets head coach? Matthew Stafford? Is that because it's an easier name for you to pronounce? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. And
now I know why I told you about Stoops before. Because where did he spend his last 2 years? Where do you think?
Got me feeling.
Alabama. He was an analyst.
Yes.
Where is any guy that disappeared?
What
For
did
2
they?
years. Pretty amazing. All right, hey, it's a good show. Not as much interaction, a little disappointing.
Who's lost 6 staffers, I think, this year already?
Who did?
Alabama. He's lost 6 guys.
6 guys.
4 that have went on to big time.
Oh, Mama's newest day camp. Let me see that.
Oh, they call it Nick Saban's finishing school for fired coaches.
Well, I thought my name was a little better.
They said Nick Saban's finishing school for fired coaches has a new graduate, Mike Stoops.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I think it said he's lost 4 because this guy, he'll be the defensive coordinator at Florida Atlantic with Taggart, who took over for Kiffin. But let me see. So this is what happened anyway. It says he was in negotiations for the North Texas job, but he pulled out.
Okay.
He pulled out to become the Texas linebackers coach. That was set to happen until Texas higher-ups nixed his hiring.
Wow. That's
And it
surprising.
said, and then Jim Leavitt he went to be SMU's D coordinator.
Is Jim Leavitt at Oregon?
No, he was at somewhere. What did I see? It was somewhere. It wasn't there though. It wasn't there. I know that. But so that was that move.
Fine.
Stoops here with the move. Stoops becomes the 5th Alabama analyst to get a job this offseason, joining Butch Jones, who got the job at Arkansas State, Major Applewhite, who became South Alabama's offensive coordinator, AJ Milwee, who became Texas's quarterback coach, and Charlie Strong, who went to the Jaguars as the assistant head coach. This is in addition to the 4 on-the-field assistants that have left for bigger jobs. So 5 analysts and 4 on-the-field guys. So Saban has an entire new staff. Bill O'Brien being one and Marone being another. Wow. Okay, you're doing something right. But
Interesting.
another one in the books.
Yeah, it says that Deshaun Watson, there's a few teams that are trying to get him.
Yeah, we should talk about that tomorrow once we let it all brew up for a day.
Yeah, and Roethlisberger is taking a pay cut.
I said that was going to happen, right? I said that's what's going to happen in order for him to do whatever. And then I still think they should bring somebody in and make him fight for his job. Screw him.
You hate him.
And he's been to more Super Bowls than any of them.
Yeah, no, he has been a lot of Super Bowls. All right, great show. Let's get with the outro.
Bye, Troy.
Troy, what's your favorite song?
I don't know.
Turnover chain.
No, definitely. I don't think he knows that one yet.
Not yet.
He will, though.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Football and the Kitchen Sink with Coach Schuman and Coach DePascali. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. If you like what you heard, leave us a review and be sure to tell a friend. We will meet you back here next time on Football and the Kitchen Sink.
I got a question for you. Stay on. All right.